a difficult goal to reach, but we have complete faith that, you know, these guys can be the ones to do it. Counterfeit, we are jumping into the game.
Alright guys, let's get on to the Rift. So for RJB, this could pretty much put them beyond reproach in their group. For Imp, this is their last chance to make out. If they don't win here today, I don't think there's any way they're going to be able to make out of groups. Assuming that RJB don't have the worst back half of this group stage possible, which doesn't seem too lucky so far. We've seen very few signs of weakness from RJB in their play.
Level 1 posturing seems fairly standard across the board. You've sent the Karma into the bottom lane, just kind of not really ward out, but kind of face check that initial push in case you have the Braum lane waiting in it, just can cheese you out. As well as that, just looking at runes across the board, Sion's Grasp is fairly standard, but a bit difficult to proc into the Urgot lane because, hey, you're a melee, face down a range. Once you can proc it, it's that bit of extra sustain. Coco
will get caught out a little bit of, well, of course, without the rewind to set off Atheris' second bomb, not too much danger from getting that early scout out and keeping track of where Penguin's going to start.
No rewind available, so he is sadly stuck in the, much like Enna, stuck in like half his health already from the early damage of the Lucian Karma that we mentioned previously. I just wanted to touch on some runes before that. Well, we have fairly standard. The Urgot Conqueror is a very acquisition where, you know, he was but used back in since his bit of a lot of his power shifted. He's rewarded more now for all-in taking that rune. Makes a lot more sense here. Plus, true damage against a tank. What's not to love?
I will take true damage any day of the week. Apologies for the sorry, having a bit of audio problems. We'll try and sort that one out as it goes along. But yes, so early start to the game, we're seeing a big CS lead being set up for Scarlet down the bottom side, but I think that's going to get equalized. It will free up Imp's bottom lane to go in and sneak some vision, maybe some ideas of going after Shingan in the jungle early on.
So going after Shingan is, you know, the end goal for Penguin. As we said, Kindred very, very strong compared to Zaka, but as well as that, it just gives you an idea of which mode to commit to. Look at those blue wards in the topside river, including Scuttle Crab, is complete secure Tuzi here, and that's why you see Tuzi kind of holding the lane for himself until he overextends a bit and gets in his face. A lot of damage coming through from the Conqueror Urgot.
So we talked about for Penguin, they needed to secure the first Scuttle Crabs. I like from Imp that they put the priority into making sure that goes forward correctly. It did get the vision to make sure Shingan couldn't come in swinging from the side with that big old elastic slingshot. Of course, that slingshot is going to get a lot bigger range as we get a little bit into this game to make those very hard to track engages.
Slingshot, the Zach's first max around level 9, he's got that fully kitted. That would be the aforementioned, as we keep reading, 2 screens away in, you know, RJB's sole entry into any of these fights, because it doesn't bring any potential unless he gets a really sick flanking tandem with his teleport. Else, not champ, Braum, great, not great engage. And on top of Shingan, maybe looking for something top, despite the fact we said the Eos would be on Kindred, it's the Zach this first looks like.
Yeah, hanging out in the bush, Shingan, looking to try and put the pressure down onto Tuzi. I think did go for a jump across, didn't, I think, actually manage to land it in the end, so Tuzi stays safe for now. Tuzi, one of the players for Imp, as well, we talked about Enna being a kind of fearless player. That's very much the case for Tuzi as well, on the opposite side of the equation. Fully expecting to see both these teams going, you know, absolutely massively full-on aggression when it comes to these later team fights.
And Shingan actually showing top there did allow Penguin to go for the invade down. He did pick up his first 100 on the Gromp of Shingan. So just in tandem with the bot lane shoving and the fact that's as free an objective as the Kindred get here. And Penguin, first smile to the 5-minute mark. Any day.
Yeah, I'm really, you know, it really does make me optimistic for Imp's chances to be able to really mix up this group if they can manage to pull this off here. So this is Group C we're seeing playing at the moment. Again, the top 2 teams from it. for RJB. 3-0, Imp 2-1. They only lost to RJB, but it's looking pretty good so far. CS leads in mid, bottom, and jungle. It's only top side where Tuzi's been feeling a little bit of the pressure from Toxic.
Bot lane CS is kind of negligible though, simply because the Ezreal has already been full. He's already hit that tier threshold. He doesn't have the problem with him for all areas is made from the base though, so that's a bit extra time where you have to manage either the Karma can ward or the Ezreal has to disengage for fear of having an angry Lucian in his face. Would nick him up.
Well, there's the first gank coming through. Toxic's gonna take so much damage from Penguin. There's a knock-up, and there's the first blood for Imp. Down at the bottom side, Shingan's gonna try and repeat it. Does manage to pull in Scarlet, but it's maybe gonna have to fall back now. Ares a little late to that party, so Imp remain in control.
Shingan dropping fairly low there, but yeah, as you said, it's just free payout for this Impunity top side now. Tuzi, Penguin having the time of their lives this time around, because yeah, good times all around, because hey, a lot of golden up. We've got first, we've evened up the bot lane a little. Yes, we've traded away the flat solution. We've soaked some of that Zac early pressure, and it just gives more room to breathe for Penguin for Tuzi.
Oh, okay, so the Jelly Bears getting a little bit outmaneuvered, which is not at all expected in the early going. They've been the ones to mostly control things before. So down on the bottom side, advantage, even after that attempted gank, still on Scarlet. Peta has got their Vampiric Scepter to allow for that early trading. And of course, we're in 9.6, so we've had the double tier stacking taken away as a possibility for Enna's Ezreal.
Well, to be fair, that wouldn't have come through for another 20-odd minutes anyway. But yeah, it is just one late-game tool stripped away from a comp that we already identified really wants to get to that late-game plateau. Still, Ezreal, very formidable threat, unless he gets half of his health taken away by a single Lucian Q into passive, but Toxic may find himself in a bit of trouble again. Penguin having a good time here.
Shingan is there,
by
the side will be coming in. Trying to disrupt. Level 6 is there for Penguin. And Toxic as well has got the chance. Goes to the execute. The ult is just too far out of range. Taken under the tower by Tuzi. Looking for the kill. Ultimately, Penguin, I think, is going to be disappointed. Toxic is still too strong. Here comes the Zac once again. Toxic taken down. Shingan so very low. Has got that 6, of course, already burnt. Ult, but oh boy, top lane has been entertaining.
That was incredibly brave by Toxic, and actually Ares maybe not having a great time in the bottom lane, but yeah, Toxic. Oh!
Enna really nicely played. And I mean, well, this is something we haven't even talked about for Impunity. We noted that there wasn't so much in the way of global in the game, but for RJB, they've got the Ezreal ult, they've got Shingan from long range. They certainly have the edge as far as that's concerned.
And that was a really, really great two-shot barrage cleaning up that play. But Penguin, who is a bit low on mana, otherwise he could have taken them both. Toxic moving forward in the top side, just a bit of an overextension. Assumed, like as we said, the Kindred had no mana to jump around, but sadly enough, there was enough mana to jump around. There was enough mana to drop down this Urgot. And then, yeah, Shingan knocked down a little bit low on the health bar himself, just easily able to bait out Penguin here. But the top laners, Toxic died. Tuzi died and got ulted under the tower by the Zac, but hey, they're still saying, look, let's push, let's fight, non-stop 24/7 action in this top side.
Let's fight, let's bounce. Shingan did such a great job of bringing Tuzi just outside of that zone. I'm really looking forward to see how this develops as the game goes on. Because presumably Penguin's now going to be a little bit more hesitant to throw out the Lantern Spite, while Shingan's got that ability to just leak everybody out of it.
Oh, definite possibility, yeah, as you've said. And as well as that, you saw the interaction topside where you have the Urgot able to ult targets out of the Kindred ult, as it happened to Tuzi there. Just, yeah, really, really good proactive counterplay, but actually here's the Drake.
First Drake will be secured there, as Shingan is going to be chased out of the pit. So very low, of course, does not have that passive anymore. Ares forced the flash away, follow-up flash from Etheris, has got that massive slow, and there's nobody for Ares to jump away to. That's the double kill for Scarlet Peta.
a good amount of discipline there coming out from Ares there, where he's saying, like, I do not want to blow the Glacial Fissure quite yet. Maybe if he blew it earlier, he could have survived, but hey. Good of him to not waste at the end there, but yeah, just a really great follow-up from IMP. They got the Drake, and they got the follow-up kills. I thought that RJB could maybe turn it around, get a couple more under their belt in retaliation, but no, it wasn't enough for them to get back in the game. But Toxic still continuing to fight here, despite his mana pool trying to tell him something else.
Yeah, you can kind of see that RJB may be starting to get a little bit frustrated in this game. It certainly feels like Toxic, you know, the one with the lead, feeling perhaps some of the pressure to be more of a carry presence for RJB rather than the just huge rock that they normally are.
I mean, as well as that, RJB, yeah, as you said, there could be a bit of pressure on them, but on the other hand, I think they're fine seeding a couple more of these early game objectives, a couple more of kills here and there, as long as they do continue to scale to that late game that we keep mentioning, because you have the Zac, Vlad, Ezreal, so scary later on, so just, you know, continue to allow them to cruise towards that 20-25 minute mark.
So for the Jelly Bears, Ibris, what kind of time are you thinking in the game is going to be the time when they'll arrive as a team?
The 20-25 minute mark. Oh.
Thuris?
Or not, as the case may be. It looked cool.
It did look. It looked like it would be a lot more promising, but I suppose we did make note of this, and we don't have, you know, very much in the way of, well, really anything in the terms of CC follow-up there from Coco if Shingan can't just hold Atheris entirely in place.
Death is the best CC, and Hemoplague makes them very dead, but sadly that also was not available quite yet. So yeah, as you said, not much by way of follow-up. I guess it was just more of a go away Penguin, I'm here too from Shingan, just allowing the Vladimir to get a bit more farm under his belt. But actually looking at turret plates across the board right now, none claimed for the side of RJB. So yeah, just fully in control of Impunity at this 12-minute mark.
Yeah, they've got two. Imp have got two of them down the bottom side. That's really impressive. But also, Tuzi has managed to get one up in the top to equalize a little bit of that CS discrepancy. Man, Coco is not having a good time with things. That barrage of bombs from Atheris. And we've seen already how resilient Atheris is to getting ganked with that self-speed up. And if things go really badly, of course, still has the ult for that do-over.
Also, 3 turret plates taking the mid lane for this Zillion of Atheris, just having the time of his life here. You know, that's pretty much what we said, the early game peaking Zillion, where he can start to really abuse the Vlad before the Vladimir has access to the level 9 transfusion, which he does now, to be fair, but he's also, because the Vladimir needs the early cooldown reduction, he doesn't have a completed item quite yet, does not have that protobelt finished, has the Fiendish Codex because he's also getting an Hourglass or maybe a Twin Shadows, depending on what he wants to do, but it's not a whole item quite yet. Meanwhile, Atheris stacking up the Rod of Ages and taking a bit of health damage.
Yeah, and it hasn't got that completed item as of yet, whereas Scarlet does have the Blade of the Ruined King. Now, keep your eyes on Shingan down on the bottom side. You can tell they're thinking about making a play and has been pretty patient, but unfortunately for the Bears, Impunity have recalled at this point, and so there won't be too much to gain for Shingan.
Shingan saying, look, I'm fine with scaling, you're fine with scaling, just teleport in, claim a couple CS here, let Ares get a decent back window as well while the enemy bot lane's spacing, and this is just a chance for everyone to get a little bit more room to breathe, refresh their wards, refresh their pink wards as well, and just really start to influence the map across the board. And Coco being zoned out of his own jungle by Atheris there. Atheris is pretty fearless, considering he had no vision on where Shingan was.
The Herald coming down in the mid lane as well. While the turret plating has now fallen, that will be first turret across to Impunity. I think they even get a charge onto the second one as well, as that second Drake is about to come up, but Impunity hiding in the bushes. They go a little too early there onto Ares, so they won't get the kill.
Oh! Blast Cone Betrayal almost resulting in Atheris' death there, but he gets out in the end, and still on the receiving end of so much damage coming out of the solution, who now, Scarlet Peter, does have that Blade of the Ruined King available to him, and is really starting to lay down the pain, even with Enna going for the more defensive earlier build of that rushed Iceborne Gauntlet.
Of course, we can now see that second Drake will be an Infernal for Impunity. They wanted to snowball the early, they're certainly going to have the tools to do it and have some damage for later on as well.
Actually, my main concern here for both teams is that there's not a lot by way of vision for each of them in the opposing numbers jungle, except for Impunity having 2 additional wards in the bottom side jungle of RJB. RJB being forced to drop a pink ward, their own blue buff, try and dissuade any sort of kindred shenanigans around the backside, but actually Shingan making a play towards the bottom lane.
The slipperiness of that Ezreal, especially though, with Smurf able to provide the shield and speed up. Yeah, we've seen Shingan spending so much time trying to make something happen for the Bears in the bottom side. It just doesn't seem to be working. I have to wonder if maybe a transition up to the top might be more rewarding.
It irritates me because we identified in Champ Select that the bot lane was gonna be okay to scale, they were gonna be okay to hold their own. Stop trying to force plays here when, you know, you've already identified that Impunity are the ones with the onus here. They're in complete control. Yes, you forced Scarlet's flash earlier, but you haven't punished it appropriately, and he's still here. He's got his flash reveal again, got both summoners, and more importantly, they have complete dominance over this lane. But Zach?
Shingan goes in this time, forces the issue. Let's Bounce brings him right back into the center. Teleport coming in from Impunity. Double teleport coming in from both sides.
Another teleport behind as well, Coco.
And Ares gets torn to pieces. The Vladimir Coco right in the center does get a lounge spike. But the fight is still going. Shingan providing this disruption. But Penguin providing the damage to Fear Beyond Death. At least gets the shutdown onto Scarlet. But Shingan is going to come right back up and go right back down to Penguin. Real nice cleanup for Impunity.
4 kills for Impunity, 3 kills for the Kindred, 1 mark for the Kindred, and you have to imagine another turret for Impunity here, just continuing to snowball their early game. We said, look, you're facing down a Zac, Vladimir, Ezreal composition. Please stop trying to force fights if you're this Zac Ezreal composition in the bottom side. But no, Impunity say, look, force fights into us, we'll turn it around, we'll teleport everybody down, and we will, you know, take complete control of that bottom side of the map, including the Infernal Drake.
It seems so hard for the Bears to really force anything. You've got such great tools. The Chrono Shift from Aetherius, Penguins, Lam's Respite as well. That you almost kind of it feels like Imp get to pick and choose when the fights end.
Oh man. Yep, this is one exhausting composition to face down if you are RJB here, because you're trying to just scale, honestly, but right now, Impunity not letting you any room to breathe, just not taking their foot off of the driver's seat here. Their foot off of the driver's seat. Their foot off the pedal, their hands off the driver's seat here. Excuse my mixed metaphors.
They're dangerous
Impunity
drivers.
Having a good time. Yeah, exactly. And they're about to crash straight into RJB's base.
So, from when we've seen RJB fall behind before, as they did against Athena Gaming a little bit earlier on in the group stages, the way they recovered was by trying to establish vision as, oh my god, Scarlet just burst right through Ares, and perhaps thoughts of RJB comebacks could be getting further and further from our minds as things continue to snowball.
This frustrates me because it kept happening bot lane as well, except it wasn't Ares, it was Anna. Every time it feels like this bot lane of RJB just have desynchronized recalls or desynchronized timings around the map, and it results in one of them either being chunked out by Evolution, or as you saw just then, knocked down, killed, completely removed from the map by the Lucian. It's just a lot of disrespect coming through from RJB, and IMP completely continuing to apply their dominance in this early game.
Shingan gonna threaten with the bounce once again, but yeah, can't do too much of anything. Oh, there's a double bomb coming through! Gets the triple stun and chase back into the base for the Bears. We've got the front line for Shingan, of course, holding that line, but the tower is gone, and Imp, while they do lose Penguin in that exchange, they are able to trade across for Enna.
Penguin biting off a little bit more than he can chew, moving forward on the Kindred, getting CC'd by what limited crowd control the composition of RJB did bring to the table, and actually unable to pop that Lamb's Respite at this point, just, you know, blows up in his face, but still not all doom and gloom. Able to get a little bit more pressure. Did get that tier 2 mid, did get an extra kill for themselves, and did pick up a buff on top of that. So hey, Impunity still in nigh complete control of this game. Somebody call Phil Collins, because RJB, they're against all odds this time around. That was a stretch. I'm sorry. Hey, Zach's a stretch.
Hey, there you go. It all fits, guys. The Illuminati has been confirmed. So, for Imp, they've managed to double their lead from 16 minutes to 20 minutes. They're ahead 3.5k at the 16-minute mark. Now ahead by a clean 7,000 gold. Things are spiraling way out of control. And that 25-minute RJB come online deadline, I feel like that's maybe way too far away.
I can't actually tell if the Kindred has 4 stacks or not, but I'm going to go out on a limb and assume she does, judging by the attack range. And wow, this is one very dead Baron unless RJB decides to do something about Zach. The beauty of Zach is that you're so good at fighting these dragon fights, sorry, these Baron fights even, so maybe we could see something come through from Shingan here, because you have answers, you have the Hemo Plague, you have the Proto Belt, you have the components of a Rabadon's Death Cap in the inventory of the Vladimir as well. And you have a bomb taking away half of Enna's health immediately. That is not what you want to see for RJB.
What a disappointment for the reigning Jelly Bears as well, because they had the chance to go 5 versus 4. No, neither top laner had the teleport. Now Toxic has gone down the bottom. Now it's 4 versus 4 as Ares gets caught up, does drop down the ult this time, just escapes out. And at least they force the cancel on the Baron for now, which I think, if anything, is probably the best case scenario for the Jelly Bears.
This push-pull around the Baron dance is going to be the death of me, and was almost the death of both Ares and Enna there. Neither of these bot lanes of RJB having the game of their lives. And, yeah, Impunity, it's basically rinse and repeat from here on. Whether or not you want to take this Drake that's coming up in 10 seconds, not sure what kind that is. But surely just going to be another tool to add to their repertoire as they do look to move from that up to the Baron and presumably straight into RJB's base. Another Infernal! Ah, man, that really does suck if you're RJB.
Yeah, Impunity gaming the system here, and they were able to keep on keeping on. As Atheris has been building a decent amount of AP, so now those 3 Infernals in really to pump up the damage. Of course, we'll be looking for Penguin the most kills in the game at the moment. Of course, with RJB being pushed back, now those... we might actually be able to see Penguin pick up some of those stacks from RJB's jungle.
Couple of stacks there, also a couple of stacks on the heads of RJB members. Right now, Coco gonna be the eyes on the prize for this Kindred from Penguin. And yeah, as you said, Impunity gaming the system, but now it's your turn to find some sort of a pun for RJB's team name, as we do see a dance for the vision around the Baron Pit.
Well, for the Jelly Bears, this has definitely not been a picnic of any kind. Now behind by,
what?
I think, well, let's see. I had a Teddy Bear's picnic joke, but I kind of messed it up. Don't draw attention to it, it'll be fine. Back to the Baron once again for Impunity. This time round, RJB nowhere nearby. We have got Shingan, the only member there, along with Ares, to try and contest. This feels so incredibly risky. But for the Bears, with Coco coming in, maybe they've got to jump across the wall. But he's going to steal. True Shot Barrage a little too early, and it's saved by the ult. Shingan will be put into the passive form. The Baron goes across to Imp. In comes from the side, though. Toxic trying to turn this one around. As Enna right on the front of the team fight once again. Toxic taking up the time will finally fall down. It's a bloodbath around the Baron as Ares will chase back. That's going to be another kill drop down, but Imp, they get the double, they get the Baron. I think they're going to get an inhibitor.
2Z holding off the rest of RJB from that fight. And Coco may not even be out quite yet. Penguin. Wow, there's a lot of damage coming out of the Kindred. This Kindred 12 out of 14 kill participations, putting on so much work. The dancing shoes around the Baron, knocking down Shingan into that passive, knocking down Shingan into that depths of not the mortal coil anymore, and knocking down that Baron as they do take the mid lane inhibitor. Impunity Gaming now, as we crest that 25-minute mark where we really said that RJB would start to come online, look to still be in complete control.
We have got a few items creeping into the reigning Jelly Bears pockets now as the time goes on, and at least they are getting some of that shutdown gold that has been floating around for a while. We have got the Proto Belt and the Rabadon's Death Cap for Coco. If they can get that big Hemo Plague off, maybe, just maybe, we see a fight turn around.
A real potential for that if you get such a nice flank from Shingan there. And, you know, Urgot kind of excels if you split the enemy team, and, well, I guess so does any composition into a Kindred comp if you can split them out of the ultimate, out of the Lamb's Respite. Zac, so good at doing that, not only with the threat of the Elastic Fling Shot, but of course the Let's Bounce. The Braum ultimate as well lends a lot of power to that, so if you can split the composition of Impunity, get a decent Hemo Plague, then it's gonna be smooth sailing from there on out. You have to imagine this is some sort of split Tuesday.
Tuesday avoids getting knocked up at all. It's so tanky on that Scion. We'll try and turn this one back around. Coco takes the front line for just a moment, but look how low Smurf went on that last exchange. RJB, they finally win a fight, but they still got to defend those super minions in the mid lane.
I mean, they win a fight, but they also use all of their ultimates there. All of these team fighting tools that we mentioned not 30 seconds previously. Yes, they almost dropped Smurf, but Smurf still more than happy to be alive. Still more than happy to move up with the rest of his team. And right now, it is Impunity still more than happy to continue this push here because, hey, they're having the time of their lives. They got the Baron buff. They got so many crucial ults. Lance Respite, Chrono Shift, even the culling, which is kind of, you know, unnecessary. Now the Sun ult's coming back off of cooldown as well. So Impunity, happy to be here.
It looks like we'll be seeing Penguin moving up to the top side to strip away the last tier 2 tower for the reigning Jelly Bears. I think at this point, like, you know, we've got the Jelly Bears with 0 towers taken so far, 0 Drakes, and of course, 0 Barons. The 25-minute mark has come and gone, and no sign as of yet of at least RJB that could do anything more than just delay the inevitable.
And yeah, it does feel like at this point it is delay the inevitable with this. He
did.
Yes.
He just took the inhibitor tower by himself, and Shingan's now going to be chased back into the base. Penguin follows up, gets the kill. The inhibitor is down, and for the Jelly Bears, they are feeling pressure top and bottom. Now 2 down inhibitors. The third one is surely coming momentarily while the Baron buff has gone. Impunity, they're looking to shake up group number C as Enna chased away into the base. Lovely knock up there onto Coco. The pool is not deep enough for the Bears to take shelter within. The third inhibitor's going to fall, but I don't think it's going to even matter because I think this game is over. The Nexus is getting hammered, and Impunity, they have thrown a wrench into the Jelly Bears' plans.
Was there an Akali in this game? Because